How do you see the journey of your own well-being?
I'm sort of at my best, I think, when I can align my heart, my spirit, and my mind. I try in the morning, every morning, to do just a little bit of yoga. And then I sit and I either read something spiritual and journal or meditate on that. Every day I try to get some exercise, and then I'm in 2 different non-denominational spiritual groups. We do readings and then we talk about what is alive for us or what we're working on in terms of our spirit. So those are some of my practices. I'm curious, what are some of yours?
Well, I find that my needs and practices have changed over the decades. And now that I'm in my 60s, I feel like I need something different. So when I wake up, I do some breathing exercises or some prayer, something like that to settle me before I get out of bed. But then my first thought is to go out into the balcony and listen to the birds. So that really helps to center me a lot. I love music. I like yoga like you. We like walking. But I think of all the things, I like what you said about having a circle of friends. So yeah, working on well-being seems to be critical.
You know, there's a great teacher who says that unless the inner work is large, the outer work can't be large, right? If the inner work is small, the outer work stays small too.
The Wellbeing Project has been doing a lot of surveys among changemakers, 300 plus in 55 countries. And 75% of them said, yes, their well-being was important, but only 25% felt able to do something about it. And that burnout, stress, anxiety, trauma seems to be part of the journey of changemakers. People on the front lines dealing with in war-like situations, in extreme poverty, disease. We are hearing that their substance abuse, anxiety, mental health issues are much higher than in any other sector. We need to think together, all of us who are in the donor community, in the social sector community, who are able to make a difference. How do you think, Melinda, we could work together, all of us, to do a little more to bring this issue more into the mainstream so that even how philanthropy is done can change a little to support the social sector better?
What you're doing here with the Wellbeing Project is bringing it to light. And then, yes, absolutely, philanthropy can keep some space to say, okay, we know this takes a little bit more overhead. We can use our voice in the philanthropy sector, I think, to bring well-being up and to highlight it. And we're hearing it discussed more and more around the world. And what I am seeing, particularly after COVID, is that the change makers who are out there trying to help, they are just overwhelmed. I mean, they've helped to deal with that in their own family lives, let's say COVID, and they've seen a lot of death in the community or near death, and they see traumatized families. So what they are experiencing is just enormous, and it's cumulative over time, right? One of the partners that we're working with, called the Highland Project, they're trying to help women of color create financial wealth, intergenerational. But what we've realized with that partner and what they realized is their own staff had to learn practices to take care of their own well-being, their own mental health, so that, and their own financial well-being, so that then they could be out in the community helping people on the ground have this intergenerational wealth.
We talk about overheads or we talk about unrestricted funding. How can we keep a portion of that so that every organization we all support has a little space to create more well-being practices?
I will be honest, I don't see the philanthropy sector doing it writ large yet. But the conversation has started. There are more conferences about well-being. I mean, how are you seeing it play out in India?
We know that our frontline workers are under extreme stress, whether they're in the social sector or government, medical workers, health workers, the ASHA workers, etc. It's an extremely stressful situation. And I think sometimes while government has some good practices, I think it's up to the philanthropy sector in India to now help start to develop some more tools to help those who have to face this come head to head with human distress every day and yet be detached enough to continue working.
We can take some time out away from our difficult change-making work just to have time to reflect and to be, and even to play.
I think humor, humor is very important. It's almost like a muscle you have to develop. It keeps you from having too much certainty about your own beliefs. It allows you to break your ego once in a while, apart from allowing you to laugh, which we all know releases endorphins and improves your well-being. So you're absolutely right to bring in the humor. How can we keep our sense of humor alive, even when times are very dark? So thank you for bringing up that point. It's very, very critical. So as we come to a close of our time, Melinda, any message you would have from your own life, how you went inside to strengthen yourself so that you could work outside?
I would say build a trusted group of friends that you can talk with when things are hard, when you've seen something difficult on the front lines, or you're supporting someone in your family while you're trying to create change. Have a trusted circle of friends that you can reach out to. For me, that has really carried me through some very difficult times in life, either personally or when I'm doing the hard work out in the developing world. And the second thing I would say is have a gratitude practice.
I think that's really beautiful, because gratitude gives us so much strength. Cultivating hopefulness, not empty optimism, but hope almost as a religion, an article of faith. Because when you have hope, then you have the energy for action. Shall we end with a nod to the millions of change makers around the world who need support, who need us to recognize that in their work, which they do on behalf of all of humanity, they need a little bit of a helping hand too. And if philanthropists like us could do a little more, I think there'd be that much more, well-being, of course, but also more opportunity and ways out of our crises.
So I would say my gratitude today and my thankfulness really is for the workers who do the really hard work on the front lines. So I would say take care of yourselves, be nice to yourselves, and you are actually my heroes.
Thank you so much, Melinda,
Thanks
for that message. And thank you for doing what you do. Let's keep working together. Namaste.
Namaste. Thanks, Rohini.